Our world was once a world dominated by dinosaurs. They walked where we walk. They drank the same water. Breathed the same air. And fought on the same battlefields. But then, they faced a day that none of us can imagine. Some of the most critical hours in the history of life on Earth. This is the story of the day their world ended. The last day of the dinosaurs. Earth, 65 million years ago. A warmer place than it is today. Along the west coast of what's now North America, mountains tower over a lush, forested valley. It's the domain of the ultimate forms of prehistoric evolution. At more than 350 pounds, with a wingspan of 40 feet, Quetzalcoatlus is the largest flying creature of all time. A mile down, a breakfast no carnivore can resist. It will take this tiny hatchling 18 years to become the age's most fearsome predator. But for now, Tyrannosaurus rex is just a few inches tall, not very scary, and completely exposed.
The father, a fully grown T-Rex, is on the hunt.
His acute sense of smell helps him sniff out prey from great distances. And it also serves him well as a parent.
He knows when something is wrong.
Quetzalcoatlus's metabolism demands that it eat regularly. Empowering this streamlined body means finding rich sources of protein.
Like a 3-pound baby T-Rex. Quetzalcoatlus's huge wings are perfectly adapted for long-distance gliding. But its sheer size makes it hard to lift off when it's backed into a corner.
Of the entire clutch of T-Rex eggs, only one chick survives. And if it grows up, it will grow to be 17 feet tall and weigh more than 7 tons. But surviving to adulthood, even for Tyrannosaurus rex, isn't written in stone.
Because a storm is coming. Because a storm is coming.
This is the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, 200 million miles away.
Billions of rocks, all hurtling through space in the same direction, like traffic on a freeway.
It's like a 40-mile-wide semi suddenly slicing across the highway. It's like a 40-mile-wide semi suddenly slicing across the highway.
But this truck is going 22,000 miles an hour.
The two asteroids shatter into millions of fragments. It's a rock poised to change history. It's a rock poised to change history. The only planet known to harbor life. Meanwhile, the planet's reptilian lords live completely unaware of what's heading their way. Triceratops are among the most widespread dinosaurs on the North American continent. They're herbivores, but that doesn't mean they're wallflowers. Male Triceratops take their mating rights very seriously. And at up to 6 tons each, a face-off can be fatal. This time, intimidation does the trick.
But there's another enemy waiting in the wings.
He is not after mating rights. The Triceratops is fast and well-armored enough to stand a chance against T-Rex. But not against 2 of them. Hunting as a pair, one T-Rex can get behind the deadly horns and armored collar. There's enough meat here to feed them both for weeks.
But they may not have the time to enjoy it.
A 250,000 miles up is the Earth's last hope of defense. The Moon has saved the planet before. Its pockmarked surface bears the scars of countless collisions. This crater, known as Tycho, is more than 50 miles wide. Created by a rock only half the size of the one that's on its way. But the Moon is rarely in the right place at the right time. Nothing can stop the asteroid now.
This cosmic missile isn't as alien as it seems. There is a low, menacing rumble that gradually intensifies, accompanied.
Like the Earth itself, it's made up largely of rock and water. In the cold vacuum of space, the water freezes into a hard permafrost. But on the inside, there's a chemical cocktail composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Key ingredients for life. Asteroid fragments like this one may have provided the building blocks for life on Earth.
Life that evolved into dinosaurs.
But what gives life can also take it away. Most dinosaurs in the valley hunt and forage during the day and sleep at night. This giant herbivore, an ankylosaurus, keeps one eye open for predators. Under the cover of darkness, very different creatures emerge from their hiding places. Like Masadma, a primitive mammal about the size of an opossum. Like most other mammals, Masadma's life is all about being where the dinosaurs aren't. It only comes out at night to forage for tasty roots and insects. While the giants sleep, it's the meek that witness a cosmic event. A meteor shower. Each streak of light is a tiny fragment of the asteroid collision. Narrator. Burning up as it enters the atmosphere.
These are mainly outriders of the much larger missile hurtling through space.
An asteroid locked into a head-on collision. The day of reckoning is here. After a journey lasting 100 million years, an enormous chunk of cosmic rock is approaching the end of the line.
And the end of the line is Earth.
In what is today central Mexico, a herd of Alamosaurus is wandering the plains in search of food. They're the last of the sauropods, the biggest animals ever to walk the Earth. 70 feet long and a staggering 40 feet tall, Alamosaurus weigh up to 30 tons. To maintain that bulk, they need to eat up to a ton of leaves every day. A vast herd like this one strips the landscape of vegetation in just a few hours. Because she's a nomad on a constant search for food. When it's time for this female to lay her eggs, she doesn't nest. She simply lays eggs in groups of 5 or 6 to improve the chances that some will survive. Under normal conditions, only 1 in 3,000 will produce a mature Alamosaurus. But the odds stacked against these eggs are about to get astronomical. Because now, just 20 minutes away, 2 trillion tons of rock is racing right at them. The asteroid fragment's enormous mass is only part of the threat.
The other part is velocity.
But as it gets closer to the planet, the Earth's gravitational pull gets stronger. And the asteroid accelerates past 40 to 45,000 miles per hour. And mass times acceleration equals force. As the asteroid encounters atmosphere, friction turns it into a fireball. Swooping over the Atlantic and aimed at Mexico and the Alamosaurus. It takes just 4 minutes to cross the ocean. It crushes and superheats the air surrounding it, transforming gas and debris into white-hot plasma. At 35,000 degrees, it's burning brighter than 1,000,000 suns. It takes just 5 seconds to flash through the atmosphere. Impact seems instantaneous. But key to understanding what follows. The asteroid's trajectory is shallow. It flies in at about a 30-degree angle to the surface. Even before the fireball touches down, its sheer brightness in the sky is unimaginable.
Hundreds of miles from the impact site, the brilliant light is so intense, it makes the massive silhouettes of the Alamosaurus appear almost translucent,
and burns flash frames of their shadows onto the ground.
The scorching light sears their eyeballs. They have no way of seeing what's headed their way.
But they can feel it. An explosive force of 100 million megatons.
More powerful than all the nuclear weapons ever built. Instead, it hits the shallow waters of the Gulf of Mexico, which instantly vaporize. Earth and rock also vaporize and are hurled skyward at 100,000 miles an hour.
Behind them, 80,000 cubic miles of the Earth's crust explode from the ground.
"500 miles from the crash site, the air temperature now reaches 600 degrees.
Which escapes in sudden bursts of steam. Anything directly exposed to the blistering heat is simply broiled alive.
Just 108 seconds after impact in the Gulf of Mexico, the bright streams of vaporized rock can be seen in the Pacific Northwest.
From their cliff-top roost, a breeding pair of Quetzalcoatlus can see the glow of the fireball high above the horizon.
That's how big it is.
Just 2 minutes have passed since the asteroid slammed into the Earth. Those lucky enough to be shielded by a mountain are spared the worst of the light and heat blasts. But 3 more waves of destruction are coming. Hundreds of surviving Alamosaurus are bombarded from above. A second wave hits from below. Nearly 60 times more powerful than any earthquake humans have experienced.
third wave is the kinetic pressure front.
Stripping skin from flesh. Flinging 30-ton dinosaurs into the air like so many rag dolls. Most of the eggs, too, have been destroyed. Some eggs, buried in the cool ground, have survived. Some eggs, buried in the cool ground, have survived. New Alamosaurus life is growing. There is still hope. Driving entire species of dinosaur to extinction in less than 5 minutes. Mongolia is 8,000 miles from the impact.
The scrubland here supports hundreds of dinosaur species.
But they're vegetarians and docile.
Except when they have to defend themselves. Which are now at their most vulnerable.
Armed with a razor-sharp, oversized claw on its hind feet. This is the jackal of the Cretaceous period. Sour ornithoides, a very smart reptile. Its brain-to-body weight ratio is among the highest of any dinosaur. It's hungry, but it knows better than to take on a fully grown Tyrannosaurus. Not when there are easier targets. In its rush to eat, the thief doesn't get as far away from the enraged mother as it should. It's a Mexican standoff between two very different kinds of dinosaur.
But the other is 80 times larger.
But the large herbivores of this world aren't made for fighting. And especially when he's got backup. Speed and strategy give these small hunters the edge. Keep back, my eggs! On the other side of the planet, a fireball rises 100 miles above ground zero.
70 billion tons of pulverized stone and earth fill the upper atmosphere with a cloud of microscopic dust and glass.
And it's spreading fast. This is the ejecta cloud. As the dust spreads at high altitude, trillions of tiny particles re-enter the atmosphere.
The friction creates intense heat.
A 15,000-degree dust cloud, heating up everything beneath it.
Down in the valley, a thick ocean fog blocks out the sky.
The heavy blanket of moisture makes it impossible to see the coming apocalypse.
But the animals down here do get a warning. Not from above. When the asteroid struck, most of the energy was deflected, out or up. Only 1% of the force travels down into the ground. But it's enough to ring the planet like a bell. Seismic waves radiate both across and through the Earth. In the valley, the ground shakes as the 11.1 earthquake ripples through the ground.
Triceratops panic up the side of the valley in a desperate attempt to escape the tremors and falling debris.
Smaller animals take shelter underground. It bakes the earth with unrelenting heat.
It bakes the earth with unrelenting heat.
Millions of volts of static electricity charge the cloud like a giant battery,
creating a vast electrical storm.
Superheated rocks shower the valley, a burning hail. Superheated rocks shower the valley, a burning hail.
The Quetzalcoatlus are fleeing the quake's devastation below, but there's no way to hide from a rain of fire.
Only the valley floor can provide shelter, but they're too big to descend quickly.
If his mate doesn't find shelter, she'll be next. If his mate doesn't find shelter, she'll be next.
On the mountain slopes, a pair of triceratops emerges above the cool sea mist. They're almost out of the quake-ravaged valley when the ejecta cloud arrives.
Like a blowtorch.
A dinosaur paradise just hours ago, North America is now a living hell.
Not by a long shot.
Less than an hour since the asteroid impact, hundreds of species of dinosaur lie devastated across the Western Hemisphere.
The ejecta cloud continues to spread at high altitude.
The ejecta cloud continues to spread at high altitude. As it spans the globe, the effects on the ground vary dramatically. 8,000 miles away in Asia, the cloud rolls in silently from the east.
In Mongolia, temperatures on the ground tick upwards.
A few degrees hotter every second.
There's no audible warning, only mounting heat.
There's no audible warning, only mounting heat. As the air reaches 120 degrees, the only hope is shelter.
Over 200 degrees, just seconds.
Over 200 degrees, just seconds.
But not every dinosaur is baking alive.
The microclimate of a cave can keep a handful of survivors cool enough to breathe. Forcing an uneasy peace between sworn enemies. Forcing an uneasy peace between sworn enemies.
One that's already fraying at the edges.
Back in the Pacific Northwest, the dense fog still shields the valley from the intense heat above. In sheltered areas like this,
small pockets of dinosaurs hang on.
For the Triceratops here, the high temperatures and humidity force them to keep moving. For scavengers, there's no shortage of food. For scavengers, there's no shortage of food. The female Quetzalcoatlus is one of the few survivors of her species.
The last thing these animals need is a new threat.
But the after effects of impact are just getting started. Above the valley and across North America, the intense heat of the ejecta cloud has ignited fires.
Blazes so intense, they generate their own winds. Down in the valley, the air pressure plunges,
creating a vacuum that sucks in the flames. The dry vegetation goes up like a powder keg, building a wall of fire. The panicked animals race up the valley slopes, but fire goes faster uphill. Some lucky creatures escape below the flames. But large dinosaurs have no place to hide. Her wings still damaged from the falling ejecta, the wounded Quetzalcoatlus struggles to take off.
For the dinosaurs, time is running out.
Two hours after the asteroid impact, the entire planet is covered in dust and smoke. Fires rage across the Western Hemisphere. One of the few remaining Quetzalcoatlus, a flying pterosaur as big as a giraffe, is struggling to get airborne. From above, what was once a lush valley is now an inferno. Animals that fly can escape the flames, but there are few places to land and almost nothing to eat. A food chain once rich enough to support giants now lacks its basic component. "8,000 miles away in Mongolia, the temperatures are finally dropping. A handful of animals remain safely holed up in their cave. It seems the worst is over. The ravenous sauronithoids can't resist the sight of an easy meal.